Hi everybody. Before we look into stage 7, let's have a quick look at how stages 3 to 6 unfolded. On stage 3, Pogačar did not launch an attack, yet counted on his sprint atop Jebel Jais. Here's the 10 riders remaining within 10 seconds of Pogačar on this stage. Darling hung on fairly long, yet had to let go with 1k till the finish. Sean Quinn at the F did not start the stage. On stage 4, we saw Fisher Black fighting for every second along the way, taking some bonification seconds in the process. And with roughly 55k to go, we saw Little Trek blowing the field apart in a crosswind situation. At Visma Leasebike, we saw Gloak suffering on stage 3, and seemingly sickness is going round in the team. He did not start stage 4. In the end, it was Milan who took the win in another impressive royal sprint ahead of Merlier and Philipsen. In stage 5 then, Pogačar decided to do a hard training ride by going into the break and riding hard. The riders averaged 50k per hour in the 2 opening hours of the race, and the 160k stage got completed at a record high average of 48.7 kilometers per hour. Higita did not start the stage, and unfortunately, despite the wide roads, the stage was marred by some bad crashes, and we saw some riders crossing the line with what looked like a collarbone fracture. At the same time, it took some of the fast men out of contention, and we saw Gal and Castrillo losing time as well. This time around, Milan did not manage to hold off Merlier for the win, and Malucelli in second. Stage 6 was a straightforward sprint stage where Merlier literally degraded the field, proving here that he remains the fastest man alive under these conditions. Note that Groenewegen, Krabs, Langelotti, Seixas and Gaviria did not start stage 6, most of them as a result of the crashes on stage 5. Which brings us to stage 7, the final and deciding stage of this year's UAE Tour, ending atop Jebel Hafeet. Jebel Hafeet runs over almost 11k, climbing at 6.6% average, which is a bit deceiving given that the final few k's flatten out and that there's even a small descent in there. The largest chunk of the climb averages around 8%, with a peak of 11% sitting around 3k from the finish line. Now, when we look at the top 10 and the time differences on the final 6 earlier occasions where Jebel Hafeet featured in a stage, we can see that we had a sprint of 2 or 3 riders in 3 out of 6 occasions, while we saw dominant wins by Van Eetveld on last year's edition and Adam Yates in 2020, who also won the 2023 edition with 10 seconds on Evenepoel and 40 plus seconds on the rest. So technically, you would say there's still options for those who remain close in GC, were it not that it's Pogačar in P1. Note the riders on this year's start list who've been inside the top 10 here in former editions: Pogačar, Lutsenko, Konrad, Bouchard, Bilbao, Zwiehoff, Storer, Rubio, Lemme and last year's winner Lennart van Eetveld. Here's that GC going into the Jebel Hafeet stage with 11 riders remaining within 1 minute of Pogačar, who basically has the GC in his bag as long as he stays on the bike. Betting odds were not yet available at the time of recording, yet they won't be very interesting, with Pogačar as the outright favorite at non-interesting odds. Then here's the riders to watch in my book. Starting with Pogačar himself, for whom I guess it will depend on his training program whether he'll win it in a sprint or solo. Fisher Black at Red Bull Bora, finishing in P6 and the last rider to get the same time as Pogačar on Jebel Jais. Le Serre at Soudal Quickstep and Bart Lemme is the only option left at Visma Leasebike. He didn't manage to hang on earlier this week though, so I'm not expecting too much from him. Riccitello at Israel Premier Tech, 9th on Jebel Jais. And with Langelotti not starting stage 6, it's back to Carlos Rodriguez at Ineos, who has been involved in crashes earlier this week and didn't do too well on Jebel Jais though. Gal was impressive on Jebel Jais, not afraid to attack Pogačar and then still making it stick for third is a very strong ride. Ciccone at Little Trek, 5th on Jebel Jais. Only at Picnic Postenel and the defending champion Van Eetveld at Lotto, 2nd and 4th to Pogačar on stage 3. Steinhauser at the F, and for Team Movistar, Castrillo and Romeo are clearly the riders to watch. Note that Castrillo has been on the ground in stage 5, yet it didn't look like he had been impacted much. That being said, you'd expect him to be riding to defend Romeo's podium spot now. And finally, some outsiders: Bilbao at Bahrain, Storer at Tudor and Tejada at Astana. Pogačar is my only 4-star favorite for the stage. Ciccone, Van Eetveld and only get 3 stars, and following his strong ride on Jebel Jais, I'm adding Gal to my 3-star favorites as well, Besides Pogacar, he's actually the only one I can see winning this stage. Fisher Black gets 2 stars, and Bilbao, Riccitello, and Romeo each get 1 star. For the podium, I'm calling Pogacar in a solo win ahead of Gal and Van Eetveld. Should the odds for Gal be interesting, I'll probably give it a shot, either for top 3 or a wild shot for the stage win. Thanks for watching, enjoy the stage, and see you soon for my Omloop het Nieuwsblad preview.